Hey everyone, this is WobblyWallaby. There's a lot of people that are unsure about Bell in the Danmachi collaboration since Eyes is much easier to build. Today I'll describe step by step how to play Bell and how I built it so that it became my second strongest attacker in Ragnarok Mobile Eternal Love behind Sunlight. I'll make a progression video in the near future. This one focuses more on gameplay. But before I continue, great news, I have codes to give away. I have 10C, 10 global and 10 EU codes. In the comments say, are you choosing Eyes or Bell? Please include your Discord ID and which server you play on, and winners will get codes December 7, 2025. First, let me show you some footage in Palace of Ghosts unedited. With my home dummy, I charge up my Firebolt to 10, so you don't have to ramp up during the instance. This is different than Sunlight and other classes, where you lose the buffs when you change maps. Then I cast Arcane as well, then start the instance. If you're in a public party, I'd recommend you pre-charge as well to have burst right away. You can see my limit off is ready to go. First, I let limit off run for a few seconds. This is because I want the 30-second cooldown to happen during the shield being down so I can activate faster after. Then I attack. Next, I manually cast Firebolt. This will let you recharge Arcane without needing to channel for 10 seconds. Don't channel mid-battle as your damage loss will be too severe. Regaining the 10 stacks is much easier. Then I cast Limit Off a second time. In other runs where I didn't use Limit Off a second time, it was very slow, so you definitely want to do this multiple times if you aren't well enough to complete it all within the 10-second duration. Now I do reposition myself to stop being hit by fire. When Kane has their shield, I do Firebolt again to get Limit Off ready. Then I finish him off with a third limit off. It took 60 seconds, which is much faster than my Klitzberg, which is above 90 seconds on this account, but nowhere near Sunlight, which is about 19 seconds. Next, here's my gear overview. I will be doing a progression video with less whale cards in the future, so in this video I just wanted to focus on the gameplay first to give people an idea of how you can play Bell to maximize your damage. For Bell, I use elemental converters. Even though he has fire skills, I don't use them. I just focus on my auto attack, which is significantly stronger. People had tested hybrid or magic builds, but as of right now, the physical auto attack build is the strongest. Your primary source of damage is auto attacking, the extra magic damage is a bonus. Next, here's my shadow equipment, Oracle Mirror and Relic. I had used similar gear for Nameless, and my results were nowhere near. I think Bell has more burst and hits critical stats easier, which makes him better for my account. Next, let me show you PSR, doing a pre-charge as last time. This time I'll show you how to utilize the Baphomet card as well for AoE. I usually edit out the loading screen, but I wanted people to see that pre-charging does work and you should use it. I run towards the dragon and cast Limit Off. The burst is truly insane, and I will say without Limit Off being used frequently, my Bell's damage isn't that high. Now some whales only use Limit Off once and can clear PSR super fast, but I'm showing the playstyle that semi-free-to-play players should use to maximize their damage. I take down the mirror cores. For the last one I use Firebolt to help me recharge Arcane. Then I use Limit Off a second time. Then I use my Yimmers to prepare my AoE build with the Baphomet card. I group the two dragons together, then burst them down together. I found that saved a lot of time. When I had to deal with the dragons one by one, it took a long time. Then I switched back to single, then burst down the dragon again. The PSR Dragon time was 79.8 seconds, which is fast for my account, not for whales. Again, I'm showing the technique people should use for these instances. Next, here's my gear overview. This time I used the fire converter, so I have a fire build. I had spent a lot of time with the home dummy testing out different stuff. Because Bell gets so much auto attack damage, I found damaged MVP and minis, damage to all races, and elemental damage actually increases to give more damage. So with Bell, you have to do a lot of damage testing with a variety of gear available to you to see what gives you the most damage. Next, here's my shed equipment, Oracle Mirror, and Relic. Next, when I Ymir switch to AoE, the only difference is the Baphomet card. If you're facing mobs, I'd highly recommend use this card so you can have consistent AoE. Next, here are my stats. I have 43,000 attack. For attributes, you need to get 5 stats to 300. This is due to Unyielding, which requires 4 stats at 300. Then if you have 5 attributes at 300, then Perseverance Marked Ruin gives you final damage bonus. Now if you hit a monster, you'll get 50 to all attributes for 10 seconds, so it's not too hard for PvE, but since I also use Bell in PvP, I put it that my stats will get 300 even without this buff. Next, I have 142.1% penetration, 374.8% critical damage, 96.2% auto attack damage increase, 263.6% damage, 167.9% physical damage increase, and 92% fire damage. I tested with elemental accessories and it performs better than the physical damage increase ones or adding more auto attack damage via the Dragonfly star card. Now I really like that Bell can hit critical stats easily due to the Hestia Knife Core Hero passive. The ones of interest is Agi, adding to auto attack damage, and Dex for adding physical damage increase and penetration. So when choosing the two skills, those are the ones I choose to have double. And for the summary, it shows this Core Hero passive gives me 61.74% auto attack damage increase and 60.9% physical damage increase and physical penetration percentage. So for me, this is why Bell does so well compared to my other classes, because it gets a crazy boost in damage. For the two skills you can choose for double bonus, it is Agility and Dex. For manual skills I have Auto Attack, mash this if you're flinching to override its effect. Then the Guardian of the Flame Wind for some survivability. You can add Symphony of Wind and Fire if you have an Eyes in your party. Next is Firebolt, which is something you should cast manually. Firebolt in my build isn't used for damage, which is why it isn't on auto. It is used to refresh Arcane, and secondly for more auto attack damage from tier 5 of Blade of Hero. So you can get 10 stacks of Firebolt, but you do need 4 attributes at 300 to get the extra 5 stacks from Unyielding Will. For Arcane, you need 10 stacks to activate Firebolt to refresh Limit Off without channeling. You should activate it before the cooldown of Limit Off is over, because you want to cast Limit Off as frequently as possible. You should also maintain your 10 stacks of Firebolt for more auto attack damage from the weapon's tier 5 effect. Next, prepare for Elite, which has Lairs Freeze, Unyielding Will, and the Guardian of Flame Wind. Next is Arcanaut, which is your primary burst skill. Use it wisely as the duration is 10 seconds, although the rune can extend it to up to another 5 seconds. Then there's Heroic Shot, which you can use when Limit Off is activated. Usually I just prefer to auto attack as it does more damage, so I don't really use this. For my auto attack slot, I just have auto attack there. For skill inheritance, I have improved concentration for the final damage when standing still. Next, for advanced runes, here's my layout. The best ones to rerolls are Perseverance Marked Ruin for more final damage bonus, and Awakening Inscription Star Ruin for a longer limit off duration. Next, here are my attribute ruins. Definitely go for the damage to all races. Next, here are my arcane ruins. I use Whiteblade Ruin for more damage when there's only one enemy within 5 meters. I also use War Preparedness Ruin for the self shield. Then I use the Frenzied Ruin for more movement speed, since this synergizes well with the Eyes card. Next, here's my Adventure Handbook. I have 170% deposit and 3,839 attack. Next, would I recommend Bell? If you want an auto attacker that can hit critical stats easily, it is a great choice. If you prefer timing based classes similar to Sunlight, that is great too. I find classes that are heavily timing based more satisfying than classes that you can just go full auto AFK. However, this class still won't beat Sunlight, so if you're physical DPS and you want something stronger, Sunlight is still my top pick. However, if you come from an auto attack background and you have lots of those gears, is definitely worth checking out. I personally don't have optimal auto-attacking gear, but I still did pretty well. Bells with proper gear can definitely clear these instances super fast, as the damage scales quite well. Also, I like that he can elementally convert. Eyes is stuck to wind, but with Bell you have more flexibility on what you can use. Now how about if you're a magic user? Well, his current builds work best with physical, so I pick Eyes instead for magic users. Also, right now many people have chosen Eyes, so if you want synergy of both classes, Bell is a good choice too since many people will accept you in parties. So overall, Bell surprised me with how good it was. However, in my upcoming videos I'll try it with free-to-play level cards and relics to see if it's worth playing at various spending levels. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Here's a video that I'd recommend, and if you want more class recommendations, check out this playlist over here.